Hi, everyone. Today I'll be going over this one, which is hello. There we go. All right, I'll be going over chapter 7, hands-on test drive 1. So let's see. In this case, we're given two views because of the shape, right? It'd be easier for us to start with the side view. So let's see. And because of how the drawing is given to us, it seems like they want us to have the origin to be in the middle here, and for us to build like a half a circle around it and then extrude that. So let's start by sketching this face. So let me pull up my phone too, make everything easy for myself. Rotate. All right. So new part. So before you start, it's always a good idea to just take a second and think about how you would approach this. Which component of the part is the easiest or the largest, and that's the part that's the place where you should start first. So in this case, let's start by sketching on the front plane or right plane, doesn't matter. I'll choose right plane. Let's make some, in this case, let's make some construction lines. It's never a bad idea to have some construction lines down before you even start, even if you may not use either one of them. So click, double click. Let's see. All right, so let's start by making a semicircle or like an arc. Whoops, wrong type of arc. 3-point arc is what we want. So as you can see in the photo, it doesn't exactly touch the construction line. So it's like slightly offset from the construction line. All right. And it says here that at least for the inner radius, it is 30. So let's do that. Inner radius of 30. Ooh, that's very off. Actually, okay, nice. So inner radius of 30, and then an outer radius of 36. All right, so these two has to be concentric in this case. If it doesn't like explicitly say that it's concentric, but based on the drawing, you can just assume that it's concentric. Like most arcs are concentric if they're like right next to each other, unless otherwise like noted. So concentric, perfect. Let's see how far it is from the center line, how far it is from the vertical construction line we have here. It is 2 millimeters away. So let's make sure all these points, because they're all vertically aligned, we might as well just set all of them to be vertical to each other. So in this case, we select the vertical constraint after selecting all 4 points. This will ensure that all 4 of these points will be vertically aligned and like they're all sitting on this infinite invisible vertical line. Okay, and that would be this way we can get away with only dimensioning 1 point. And this way we basically lock down the entire 4 endpoints of the arcs, of the 2 arcs. So next we have to make sure that this doesn't move around too much, right? We don't want this movement, it's still blue. We want to fully define this. So we need to so I'm most likely it is that this center point here, when we were setting these vertical relations, right, we should have selected the center point as well. So we want the center point to be vertically aligned with those 4 endpoints that we selected on those arcs. So because I forgot, I just have to select a point that we already pretty much fixed in place and the center point. And then we set those to vertical as well. So now it should be fixed. These 2 curves should be fixed. Okay, now let's see why it's still blue. So let's take a few points and dragging around. All right, so here we can see that it's still free to move up and down, right? So we want to dimension or constrain this somehow using a relation. So in this case, you can either set a dimension from the center point to this horizontal line and set it to 0, or you can just click this, click the origin, click both, and you hit horizontally, you hit the horizontal relation, and that would keep those 2 points on an infinite invisible horizontal line. All right, so now that we are here, we just need to build the 2 little nubs here with the 2 holes. So we can just go right ahead and include the circle, include these holes in the sketch. So when we extrude them, we can just deselect that hole and basically save some work and have those holes pre-made. Get the holes in just one extrude, basically. So let's see. Let's connect these lines. Okay. See, now the whole thing is grayed in, which means it's a fully closed sketch. So now we need to make this thing, so drag up, curve from this point, curve. There we go. Then down, perfect. Double click, drag up, do the same thing up here. Go up, curve, curve. Okay, down, double click. Okay, 2 circles in the middle here. Diameter of 4. This diameter is 5. Okay. Clean up the dimensions a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, let's see, everything's good. So because we use the same center point, we made the circle on the center point of the arc. These 2 are automatically concentric pretty much because the center points themselves are coincident. And that's part of the requirement to be concentric. It should be fine. And let's dimension the arc. That is a radius of 5. And that is a radius of 4. Perfecto. Now we're very close. We just need to constrain this vertically again. That is a, we have to get rid of this degree of freedom is what this is referred to. So this is still free to move in 1 degree, has 1 degree of freedom in that it can move up and down. And if it can move left and right and like front and back, then that's more degrees of freedom. And then if it rotates, those are more as well. I think they call it degrees of freedom. Let's see. So we can, since they give us dimension already, we can just copy that, 42. And then for this one is 10 from here to this point here. 10, all right. And we want to trim this line here. So we just drag over, there you go. But this thing we don't want to trim because we're extruding this a different amount. We're extruding this sketch here separately than the rest. So we can just leave this be for now. All right. So I think everything is fully checked to make sure everything is fully defined. Under defined, it says. So we have an extra point here. Ah, yes. I think there's a merge feature. Okay, we can just get rid of this line and drag this and finish the other line. So it doesn't like to have two lines. Because we trimmed away the middle, we had two lines here. So we had to reduce that down to just one line. You can keep two if you like. It doesn't make a difference, but I like to have the sketch be as simple as possible while still fulfilling the requirements. So get out of here. Oh, wrong one. Just extrude. So step one, we're gonna extrude this part, right? So let's do a mid-plane extrude because you can think of this having a center line down, straight down the middle right here, straight down the middle. That way we can just extrude both of these parts more easily and have this chunk here be centered. This little nub here be centered in the overall view here. So a mid-plane extrude will be the easiest type in this case. So it says 20. All right, and now let's do make sure since we can extrude without the sketch being visible, make sure that we show the sketch. All right, extrude again, but this time we hit one of these. Okay, so it didn't select the right thing. We have to go back in to select the contours, clear everything out, and then choose what we actually want this time. All right, so all right, sorry everyone, I had to take a detour from recording this. So now I'm back, resuming recording. Let's pick up where we left off, which is extruding this area, right? So choose that. Once again, it didn't select the right one. Unfortunate, but delete, pick the one that you actually wanted to extrude. That is a little bit too much. I don't know why, what the heck? Oh, because I don't know why SolidWorks keeps on assuming that one thin feature for some reason. But we don't want thin feature, make sure to turn it off. When it looks funky, it's typically two things. The thin feature is on, or you selected extra lines or the wrong contour or the wrong region by accident, or selected multiple regions by accident. So typically wrong selection or thin feature turned on. Two common issues, two common things you can look for when your extrude doesn't look right. So in this case, we also want mid-plane. And this time it is only 10 millimeters, I believe. Yep, 10 millimeters. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so now we can hide the sketch again, I think. Yep, okay, so this is basically, no, hide sketch, not edit sketch. Okay, so now we have the overall shape, outside shape. Now we actually just need to do a revolved cut. Again, there was definitely multiple ways of doing this, but I believe this way would be the easiest method to obtain the shape. Easiest way to obtain the shape. Oops. So let's dimension this. So it's telling us that the difference, the height here is, you could do a little bit of math, here to figure out the height here. So the top radius, the middle radius is 33, the bottom radius is 30, which the difference should be 3. Okay, that was much easier than I expected, but whatever. And then it says this whole thing should be a width of 12. If I just do 12 here, this thing won't be centered, right? So let's go ahead and do 12. This thing is not fixed horizontally. So we got to somehow fix this. you can dimension this to the side and that will fix it, or you can just hover around the midpoint area and it will show the midpoint of the shape. And then you can hold your control and hit the origin to vertically constrain the two. There we go. Now it's fully defined. Cut revolve from before. Okay, so for the axis of revolution, we have to choose, first of all, we have to flip the side. And for the axes of revolution, we need to pick shucks. Okay, so you need to make, I totally forgot about this actually. Go back into the sketch, take a little detour, Control 8, you have to make a center line or construction line in the middle here. So you can use that as a reference to rotate the shape around. So this should be good. Everything's still fully defined because this is just a construction line. You don't have to dimension those. You just have to make sure these are either vertically or horizontally. Basically, if you use them as a reference tool, you want them to be like relatively fixed. They don't have to be completely fixed, but they need to be like relatively fixed so they don't move around by accident. So Control 8, everything looks fine. Swept cut, where you at? Right here. Choose your profile. Revolve cut, oops. Revolve. There we go. So axis of revolution, this one. So the contours, it automatically knows we're picking that one. There we go, selected just in case. And it's going 360. You don't have to go 360 in this case because we're only doing half a we're only doing like half a circle, a semicircle. Flip this directions, you can change directions. Pretty cool. So yeah, technically you only need this much, but if you want to just be safe, you can just go 360. You definitely won't miss anything if you do this. Carve out everything in the middle, and boom, there we go. The feature from the parts from Hands-on Test Drive 1, Chapter 7. And for the heck of it, why not? Let's add a rib. This is not in the book, but while we're at it, might as well show the rib again. So I want to pick a point on the inside here, actually. Okay, so to do a rib, I have to make sure this point in the surface is coincident to the surface. Let's do the edge here, so it's easier for us. Control 8. Let's do this edge here. Nice. Control 8. And the same edge on that side, a little bit too up. What the heck? Click the relation, hit delete, get rid of it. I want it to be here. Come on, come on. Eight. Hold this up a little bit. Should be right here. There we go. Yes, finally. Okay. And then go into rib. Make this thinner. So So we don't want this to be going that way with the arrows pointing. Want to go inwards. Want this to make the rib feature towards that direction, hitting this surface. And want this to be extruded on both sides, essentially. This is one side and this is the other side. Check. Ta-da! Very cool. I bet you can just sketch on this too if you want to do something with it. Something you can do is something very, very useful is convert entities. You hit the surface, convert the outline of that onto your current sketch plane. So now we have this, right? Now we have this outline converted into a sketch on our current plane and fixed because it's fixed to the sketch it was converted from. So if you change the rib, it will change the sketch. So I gotta be careful with that, I think. And let's do something like, oh no, offset, because we haven't used that in a very long time. And change direction. Oh, whoops. So we want to reverse this. Perfect. All right. Nice. And then why not? Let's do some freaky stuff. Okay. Sketch. New sketch. Top plane. Okay, Control-8. And then let's do something weird. This, Control-8. Okay, this. Control-8. Adjust this a little bit. Make sure this is coincident to something. This sketch coincident. Okay, it didn't look like it was coincident. I'm not sure if it is. Okay, so this is just coincident to the surface. We don't want that. We want it to be coincident to the sketch here. Pierce. Okay. So basically, pierce is what you use to make a contour, make like a line or a point effectively coincident with a surface. So there are, I don't know like the specific definitions for both of them, but oftentimes you can't do coincident between two, especially two different surfaces or two different components in your part. You'll see that sometimes it will only give you the option to pierce or fix and not coincident. In that case, you just have to pierce it. And I think the book will explain it better. It's definitely in the book somewhere further along, but we don't need that right now. So you can just save that for later, essentially. Just save it for later. But it is definitely very useful. Let's see. Let's do like, I don't know, sweep. I want to sweep this thing. This thing. Let's sweep sketch 4. Okay. Okay. That's something. I want to choose the sketch profile. Can I do that? Is this gonna break? I think it might break. I don't think it likes that. Okay, maybe not then. Check. Okay, reload error. Okay, so it doesn't like that. Okay, whoops. Let's go back into sketch 4 and see what is wrong. What is wrong with this? So this is the surface I want to. Low battery. This is a piece here that I want to sweep. Maybe I delete the outside. Just leave this inner part here. Delete this too. Doesn't matter. Find the sketch 5. Make sure it's still connected to this. Get rid of the coincident. We don't need both of them. We just need one of them. Pierce point. So pierce the point onto this surface. Maybe that doesn't work actually. Maybe that does not work. That's being pretty funky actually. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Hey, there we go. That's right. This is completely useless, by the way. And I'm just playing around with the sweep feature, but it's pretty cool. It's fun to play around with it because you get to learn the limitations and different things you can maybe apply to your projects in the future. If you change the sketch, obviously now the sweep will change accordingly. This is why you want to make sure everything's fully defined, because if you don't fully define everything, if you change the dimension by accident or something, or change the dimension in a different part, it will pull everything else along with it, and you basically screw up your entire model. You want to know exactly what you're changing. There's a freaking massive moth in this house. What the holy moly? Well, shit. Oh boy, that's massive. All right, let's call it a day. I hope you guys find this somewhat helpful. Take care.